Hey guys, Brandon King with RBBASS Outdoors, and today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what we don't talk a whole lot about is fish care. And I am crazy when it comes to fish care, because ultimately your fish got to stay alive to bring them in for weigh-in. So I just wanted to share with you guys a few things that I use that work for me and have helped keep fish alive for all my tournaments and everything. For number one is a fizz-a-fish. A lot of guys, they're afraid to fizz fish because they don't want to kill them or anything like that. So what I have is this. It's basically a needle. There's two different ways to fizz a bass. So the first way obviously is to put the fish on its side and go down its spine to where the fins connect in the middle, and the anal section go right into the midline, go in a 45-degree and pop the swim bladder there. The next is the one I do the most probably, and that is you open the fish's mouth, go in between the crushers and put it right there and pop the swim bladder right there. I use that one probably the most. But I mean, especially the winter time, I feel like, whatever depth you catch them, you got to pop them. Summertime, if you're catching them super deep on a drop shot or jig or whatever, sometimes you need to pop them. Another thing I use a lot is G-juice. Whether it works or not, I just feel like it calms them down a little bit, and like I said, whatever it takes to keep them fish alive and healthy, I'm willing to do it. The next is this Rejuvenate. So what this Rejuvenate does is you pour a cap full in each one of the live wells, or whichever live well you have your fish in. What this Rejuvenate does is actually helps calm the fish down, and it helps keep their slime on their scales. I use this a ton, especially I believe it helps with fish bleeding and everything too. So I usually use this quite a bit during the season, just to make sure that my fish are alive and healthy. The next right here is this. This is the Fish Life First Aid. So I use this if I on a Nico rig, every now and then you're going to catch a fish down deep or a drop shot, and they're going to be bleeding, or you hook them in the gills or whatnot. What this does is you pour this on the gills and or wherever the fish is bleeding, and it actually helps it stop bleeding. And this has actually saved my butt a few times. You're never trying to hook them deep, or there's times where it's windy and you can't really feel anything, and the fish really sucks it down. This will really save your butt. Last but not least, these are actually new for me, and I've been using them all year, and they actually work amazing, and that is buzzer rocks. So buzzer rocks they're fairly cheap. This is the tournament package right here. And so what these do is these little white tablets right here, every 3 hours, I believe, or every 4 hours, you put it in the live well, and that helps create more oxygen in the live well. Especially these hot days, you want as much oxygen in the live well as possible. So this yellow and these red ones right here, those are stop bleed, and to actually help with the slime as well on the fish, and helps calm the fish down, because they do stress out when you put them in the live well sometimes, or if they're not in good shape, you put them in the live well, sometimes they can die pretty quick on you. So I stock up on this. It's fairly cheap. Like I said, this is, I believe it's like $10-12 for this. And then I get extra, here's the blood stop formula right here, which is a spray that I got. It's the same thing as this Fish Life First Aid. You take this and take that spray and spray it on the part that's bleeding. But I really like these buzzer rocks, especially the oxygen tablets. You know, I pretty much only use those. You know, I have all this other stuff to help stop bleeding. If I have to, I'll throw these other ones in there. But I mainly use the oxygen tablets. It just seems like the times that I have used them, that the fish are just extremely lively. There's, you know, a ton of bubbles and stuff in my live well. You know, and that's an alternative for like an oxygenator. You know, if you don't want to spend that money on an oxygenator, or for me, like I don't want to cut a big hole in my live well, you buy these buzzer rocks and, you know, whatever else you want, this G-juice, and just they help to keep your fish alive. That's the point of, you know, of tournament fishing, and the point of anglers is, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, you treat your fish right, and you want to make sure that they stay alive, you know, for the next person to catch them. So yeah, this is what I use. I just wanted to hop on here real quick to let you guys know, you know, this is something that, you know, is not talked about enough. And I believe, you know, that all this stuff right here is essential for a tournament angler, or, you know, even if you are, you know, fun fishing, you know, at least carrying something, you know, to at least, you know, pop the fish if you've caught them real deep, and you know, you need to pop the swim bladder, or bleeding fish or whatnot. Maybe, you know, maybe you might not need all this stuff, and maybe you're not a tournament angler, but, you know, some of this stuff still is essential. Like I said, make sure you get something that you can, you know, pop the swim bladder on the fish, something to stop bleeding so you're not killing the fish, and we'll get back to you. Have a good one. See ya.